Kawasaki lets the good times roll. Kawasaki lets the good times roll. Get aboard, get away, and you're gonna say, let the good times roll. Kawasaki lets the good times roll. Kawasaki lets the good times roll.
So not having a centre stand, only a side stand, what I've done is I've jacked up, and there's these two, like, not quite sure, I think they're the centre stand mounts, to be honest. I've put a couple of axle stands under either side. Same again that side. So it's got the wheel off the ground quite a lot. And the bike's lovely and stable, because what I want to do now is I want to start stripping down the front end, because I've got to get the forks re-chromed, but we're not re-chroming the forks that are on there. There's a very valid reason for that, because I can't remember whether it was this side or the other side. I don't know. One side, the little thing at the bottom got broken, so I've got a new set of forks, which are over in this bag here, which are these here, which I'm going to put on as the replacement ones, and they're all in one lump. I'm going to send away and get them re-chromed, and then we can drop all this off, have a look inside the front wheel, clean it all up, see what the brakes are like, check everything. We'll change the tyre while we're there as well. This tyre's definitely seen better days. It's a real shame, because it's, look, you can see from the tread, oh Jesus, it's almost like a brand new blimmin' tyre, but we can't ride along with that. So I need to get a new one of those, and we'll check whether it's got a tube in it, and then we disconnect all the brakes out. We'll have a look at the speedo drive, clean it all up and put that back together. And then the other thing I'm going to do while we're in there as well is I'm going to change the tree at the top and put on the proper S1C tree that I've got sitting here, but I only need this top section, don't need the bottom section, so that's even better. So fair bit of work to do there. I also want to try and find out, and I'll put that round there, why this is all loose, moving around. That shouldn't be moving. So yeah, fair bit of work, get all the gaiters off. That's really loose anyway, so that explains that. Don't know why that is so loose. Oh well, right, so let's start with the strip down. Just remember, what the fork. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a notepad and pen in here, and then every time I undo a nut, a bolt or whatever, I'm going to write down what size spanner or socket or whatever I use. Then at the end of this restoration or revival, I then have a list of all the tools potentially I need to carry in my tool roll when I'm out, in case I break down. See, that's how you get it right. So I've marked the handlebars here with some markings, because I love the position of these handlebars. I'm going to make sure they go back on exactly the same way. So the first thing I've got to do is crank off these, take the little strut things off here. Clocks have got to come off, which is a couple of bolts right up under here, so we'll need a socket on those. Pop those off, and then we can start getting the tree and the forks and everything off. Good job we're going through everything. Look, one of the screws is missing out the headlight, so the headlight bowl is effectively about to fall out, so that was good. So we'll take that out, disconnect that, put that somewhere safe, and then that will allow us a bit more room to get the clocks off. Well, I've just taken the screw out of the headlight. Look how long it is, and it needs to be about that long, so we'll trim that down anyway. But let's see if this will come out, which it does. Oh, none of the wiring was connected in there anyway. What the hell's going on? And my little side light it's broken off as well. There's all wiring laying in here, so something's gone on in here. have had the headlight out for some reason. So yeah, if you look in there, there's wires all laying around there everywhere. Ah, I wonder if it was where I changed the forks and I never put it back together properly. I can't recall now. But yeah, so we've got a bit of work to do on there. I need to have a look at this side light bulb, because look, if we put that down on there, let's drag that out and see how that's connected. So I've got this bulb here, but I've got no wire on it. Whether the wire came out the centre of there and connected onto something, I don't know. Maybe it's broken off. I have to try and strip it down. But the main headlamp looks alright, apart from this just wire hanging off. So I'll have to get the diagram and we'll have to do a bit more investigation. I might even consider an LED headlight conversion for that, which just means changing the bulb, but yeah. Okay, we'll have to check out all the wiring. I don't even know what that is. Oh, that's part of the indicators. Yeah. Right, let me get the headlight shell off and the two indicators off, and then that'll expose what we need to get out here. To get those off, I've just got to undo these bolts here, which should just drop the shell down. So we've got one bolt this side, one that side, looking at about 13mm, I think. That's what everything's been so far. Let's have a look. Oh no, that's bigger. Looks like it's 14mm. I've got a 14. 12, 13, 13, 15. £14. Look at that. Right. Does that work? It's 14mm. So where the hell... Oh, this isn't even connected anyway. So that feeds through the middle of that wire. There's its little lug. Let's leave that in there for a minute to get all this off. Right, the good thing is when we've got all these off, we can give them a good clean up, take the lenses off, clean inside. I might even do some new bulbs all the way around, because these are quite old bulbs, and then keep the others as spares. There you go, one indicator drops off. Same the other side, which is a bit tighter. Right, let's get all that off there. This wire looks like it's still connected. Oh, this wire you can't... God, what does that go into? Hang on. Goes into a mess, that's what that goes into. Right, I'll get a torch and we'll have to check that.
Kawasaki lets the good times roll. Kawasaki lets the good times roll.
Well, you can see inside the headlamp that young Mark's been active here. I have no idea what I've wrapped it all round, it's connected, but I don't know what that does. That's got to come off, whatever it is. So I'll take that off, that'll allow us to get the indicator out, but I'm going to have to look at that and see what that's doing. So there's a grey wire and a grey wire. God knows what that connection is. Hopefully it's just an earth. Right, that's dropped the headlight shell down. I've just got to undo these two here, which should then get the clocks off and allow us to get at the tree. So the clocks are mounted down through here, and they consist of this piece of rubber pushed into the bottom of here, a nut, 13mm nut and a washer. So you take off the nut, the washer and this bottom bung, and then they just pull out from the top. You've got to do both sides, then your clocks are off. So let's put this on here. Carefully on there. Right, that one's done. So that can just lift out of there. That can lift out of there. So the next thing to do is crack these two nuts here and here, big one at the top and this one, and then the top tree potentially is off, but I think I need to take the wheel off first to get some of the weight off the forks. So I think we'll drop the wheel out first, and then that'll allow us to do a bit more on the forks. So to do the wheel, I've got to get the circlip out of that side, undo the nut, push the spindle through, and then disconnect all the brakes. So to disconnect the front brake, you need a 14mm on here to take that out, and then that should allow me then to slide that out of there and get the cable out of there. Then I've got to have a look at the speedo cable to come out, and this mechanism as well. Then I've got to take off this clevis pin and then undo this nut and hammer the thing through. Right, I've dropped the brake cable out, pulled it out from its little housing. The next thing to do is take out the speedometer drive, which is a 10mm. Once I've done this out, I'll pull this out, and then we'll get after this to drop the wheel out. You can see from the top of here I had a new rev counter not long ago, and I remember that breaking. But I've just popped out the speedo drive, and that there, all the outer sheath's broken. So that's not going to be long, and that speedo cable's going to break. So I will replace that with a new one. Also, this bolt on here is the world's longest bolt. It looks like at some point in the past I've cut this down and made a bolt to fit, so I will look into that to see what's going on there. But yeah, no, that's on its last legs, so that will definitely go. So that needs replacing. Right, so next thing to do is try and get this clevis pin out, or split pin as they're called. Oh, well, it's just broken off. I'll make it easy to remove. I'll get some pliers and we'll get that out. Right, so we've got to put a screwdriver up this side. We've got to carefully... Oh, Jesus, that ain't going anywhere. I'll have to give this a hammer. That's lock solid. Don't really want to do this. Whoa! There goes me speedo. But that's loosened the nut. We got it. God. Right, job's a good one. It's my little plate. Put that back on. Right, let me loosen that off and we'll get that through. But there, that's a 19mm to get this off. So that's another one that's going on my list for my tool roll. Then on the right hand side down the bottom you've got a nut that runs through the bottom of the forks here. You've got to loosen that off to get the wheel spindle out as well. There's not one on the other side, just this side. So I've got the bolt out, came out through the bottom of there. It's 11mm, so we're doing quite well on different bolt sizes at the moment. We're ranging from about 11 to 19mm at the minute. So this is now moving, so I'm carefully going to tap on this side to start pushing the spindle through, just to get a bit more out the other side, and we'll see how it goes. So I've tapped it through with a rubber mallet down there on the floor. I'm now going to take the nut off, and then using a piece of wood on it so I don't damage it, just tap it right in. Then carefully put a little screwdriver or whatever I've got in there, and then just tap it through, and hopefully then it should just drop off. Anymore. That is. Right, where's the spanner? No, I need the 19mm spanner now. There we go. Right, put those two on there. Now, the rubber mallet, we should. There goes the spindle. It's practically out the other side. Let's go around and have a look. There we are. It's come right out. Let me get something to grab that with. I'll pull it and hopefully the wheel will drop. This is either going to go very well, like that, and the spindle's going to come completely out. Why is the wheel not off? Or is it off? Hang on, let me lose the spindle. Right, let's move me blocks. Why's the wheel not out? Okay, let me investigate.
Kawasaki lets the good times roll. Kawasaki lets the good times roll. Get aboard, get away, and you're gonna say, let the good times roll.